There we go. That was the last of the Riesling, just to let you know, okay? So I hope you enjoy it. Congratulations. I've seen some of your stained glass work, particularly at Columbia Heights Metro Station. So when I look at these colors, and then I see what you have here, what you're wearing, it all starts to make sense in a sense.
I like it.
You sort of like a black Benetton.
Okay.
You know what I mean by when I say that?
Yeah, well, black for sure. Explain the rest of it.
But I meant to say like the innocent. Well, there's black. You're wearing a black T-shirt. That's sort of symbolic.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
And then, but you have these color ranges, which is no coincidence because you've been working with colors throughout your career.
That's true.
And so, tell me, what's the story behind this particular piece? Because it seems almost spiritual in a sense.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, as they say. It's a spiritual piece. It's called Space Face, and it deals with having in my case, a black perspective. So if you're in space, you're seeing the entire globe. So the metaphor is that we have to have as black people, have a world view of the entire globe, wherever we are, wherever the diaspora is, and in particular, the development of Africa. So as a vision, we are Afro-futurists, some people say. Okay, and the idea is to have a world view and a perspective on not just our development in Washington, D.C. or in Maryland or Virginia, on the East Coast, but throughout the world to be in contact and also to give direction, to give a vision for victory to our young people, to ourselves, and how we're going to develop this world, because we're in trouble. This world's in trouble.
We is who?
Well, everybody, the whole world, but we have to look at ourselves as first before we go out and seek community with other cultures. We have to have a mechanism that is independent and developed, and then we go and sit down with other people. But for our people, we have to get these youngsters that are in the street now looking to do something based on a reaction to something. We have to give them a proactive direction to take that's positive, that is, educational,
constructive.
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that we have to demand, for instance, in public schools, that there is
Hi, how are you? I remember you were at Marjorie Goldberg.
Yeah.
You two should meet each other.
No,
really.
we know each other.
You do. I'm hoping. I'm hoping you do. Yes, I recognize your style right off the bat. That's beautiful. Okay, so how do you know a lot of these artists here that have been prominent?
I'm a member of the board of Black Arts DC. I'm a member of the executive committee, so I know all of them pretty much.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about something you just said, which I think is very significant. You said we're in trouble. I interpreted it maybe differently from you, but I know that we've got a problem with Russia and China as a international problem, which might turn out to be Armageddon if we don't watch out. So, is that part of it?
I mean, it's all part of it. It's a world view. See, we need to have a world view, not just of our community, but of the entire world, to see who are our friends, who are our enemies. Because
I thought we know that.
Well, some of us have our head in the sand, and we're hoping and wishing and praying that people will change, that people will, react to us with respect. But we have to move on proactively whatever they do. Like, we have to have our own agenda, but that agenda...
Okay, but when you say, I'm going to ask you a question, I really mean this, because I appreciate what you're saying. You said we, and then you say you, and I'm not sure who you mean. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, we as people of African descent need to understand...
And that includes Caucasians, though, right? There are Caucasians of African descent.
Well, no, the Caucasians who were born in Africa, but the indigenous people of Africa are people with dark skin.
Okay.
Now, black is an aesthetic term. Most of us are not black. Most of the people of African descent are not black, but we identify with the origin. Okay? People that are from England historically in terms of the weather, did not get very much sun at all. And so therefore, their complexion was white. So we can identify, but the issue is not so much race, but culture. So in terms of being African-centered, it's about having a direction that focuses on the development.
You're talking about sub-Saharan Africa,
Well, you know,
as opposed to
yeah,
northern
well,
Africa,
well, that's
where there's
true.
light-skinned French-speaking people there.
Well, that's true, but that has to do with the invasion of the Arabs,
Sure.
which preceded, the European colonization.
And the Italians to the
All of that.
Ethiopians and so on.
All of that.
Okay.
All of that. So we need to know what you just said. We as a people, we are not getting that education in the schools, so that when young people are out there, they're just, looking for a solution, that is right in a book, frankly. Okay, but they're not getting that book.
Okay.
All right. So,
But I want to hear your solution, because I know that as an artist, you are very successful, and in terms of the way you've expressed yourself consistently over the years, I've seen you in stained glass work, and now I see how it translates into 2D, etc. And as a scholar, I'm sure you have almost a theological background to some of your work.
Well, I do, because I started working with churches with the stained glass 35 years ago. I started doing churches. My theological base is I believe in God and the spirit world, and that we are here temporarily, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're here as a test for eternity. Now, I don't have any guarantees, but I choose to have faith. I want for us in this temporary environment, for my children, for my grandchildren, for all of our people, for the world, I would like to have peace. I would like to have prosperity. All right?
How do you define that?
Well, I don't define prosperity as being a billionaire or a millionaire, but I define prosperity as having a place to live, to be clothed, to eat, all right?
Some people say that's the basics.
Well, yeah, but how many people don't have the basics? When you really,
I don't know.
if you look at the news on any channel, you see people depraved, millions of people. When there's a catastrophe, there's how you doing? Yeah, it's like response is minimal. I mean, when you have an earthquake somewhere in the east, they'll send a little money, but tens of thousands of people will die.
So you worry about that stuff?
I worry about it because I'm a human being. I have a heart. I have feelings. But then when I come out of my house, I see, a herd coming back on the street.
You see it on your doorstep, in a sense.
Exactly.
Okay. So will you be able to, something like this, which is as beautiful as it is there a capitalistic side to this? When you create art, you have to make a living.
No, it's an economic side, it's not a capitalist side. Capitalism is a broken economic style that is for the elite, that benefits the elite. Capitalism. I'm for, a fair economic system where we don't have a permanent underclass of people. Mostly ending up being us, all right? Us and other people of color as a major underclass. And this is nothing new or revolutionary statement. It's existed for centuries now, and we just don't get it. So for artists to go to give that vision of what the world should be, or to shake the world up, or artists do many different things. Sometimes it's just a matter of you have a work of art to put you at peace. If you are in a situation of depression, let's say, and just to go on to raise your family or whatever. That's artists do many different things. But artists have always also been revolutionary in terms of saying, this is the direction you need to take. This is what's happening in front of your face. Why don't you wake up? Artists do that a lot also. And that's in the coming years. That's going to come around.
Especially if something bad happens. Right. If we have a major catastrophe like 9/11 or whatever could be coming up down the line.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you've signed this. It's called Space Face.
That's right.
It's just a collection. How many prints are in this?
100. This is the artist proof. I'll be printing out the edition soon. It's a limited edition, and I'm doing a series of prints that are inspired also from my original paintings. And that's coming out with the new technology that's available to us now. That is
So it's not a giclée. It's not a silk screen.
well, no, this is digital. This is all through the computer. Yeah.
I got it.
Right, direct.
But you can sign it by hand.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you have to.
Yeah.
To be considered a fine art piece.
Okay.
Not a reproduction.
Please tell us your website again.
AkiliRonAnderson.com. That's AkiliRonAnderson.com.
Thank you for your contribution. What are you wearing, by the way? I just want to know where did you get this?
This is about 30 years old. I have no memory of what happened. Somebody might have given it to me. But this is
It's perfect for you.
It's African.
Not a ketchup stain on it anywhere.
Right. Well, I wash it.
Well, that means it's washable, right?
That's right.
Congratulations, Akili Ron Anderson. Thank you so much for your contribution here, and thank you for your philosophy on top of everything else. It makes it more important now that we see how you're thinking. Tells a lot about your work, right?
I appreciate that.
Okay. See you soon.
Peace.
This is really awesome because I like this. When you say space, I mean, there's a lot of white space here. You know?
Space.
Yeah, I love it. Simple. It's almost asymmetrical though. It's going in a direction.
Well, it has to do with space to movement.
Yeah. That's your explanation for it. It's moving across. It's moving from left to right. Wow, that's beautiful. Like the Nike swoosh.
That's right. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.